I'm Don Schmidt, and I'm here with my co-host, Jenna Randar.
Good morning.
Good morning. And I'm also here with our friend and guest today, the Superintendent of Auburn State Recreation Area, Lauren Shoemaker. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fantastic.
We're doing all right. Well, we're here to share our expert insights on outdoor recreation in Northern California within a roughly 3-hour drive from Sacramento. And we're going to focus on seasonal adventures while blending storytelling, history, and some practical travel advice too.
So, Jenna, what do you think is the most important element to life in California? Because I normally think of sunshine, gold, electrons, I guess if you're in the South Bay area.
Are you going to make
oil.
that into a song?
Yeah, I could, huh? Yeah. But what do you think is the most important element to life in California?
Well, I think it's water and atmospheric rivers and actual rivers
Yeah.
that are not atmospheric. I don't know. What's the answer, Don?
Well, I don't know that there's any one answer. I mean, if you're in agriculture, anywhere in the Sacramento and San Joaquin Valley, soil would be probably number one, but water would be as well, because we don't have agriculture without water. But California's reputation in the country is really based on sunshine. But water is the key to everything here, probably more so than in any other state that I can think of. You know, recreation-wise, vacation-wise, water is no doubt the thing people think about, especially in the summer when they're planning their trips. The coast, yep, water. California's coastline really is the best. Lakes, and how can you not think about Lake Tahoe? And the rivers. Rivers and creeks coming out of the Sierra Nevada are world-renowned for their accessibility. So today, we're going to look at two parts of the American river system east of Sacramento and the park that they're associated with, Auburn State Recreation Area. Now, before we get into today's topic, here's Jenna's fun fact question for the episode, and Lauren, feel free to jump in. How many California state parks in the Cascade and Sierra Nevada mountains and foothills? So I'm trying to narrow it into the mountain areas here. Are associated with a lake, a river, or a stream of some sort?
There's a lot.
There's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But if you take out the valley, there's a lot less. But
I'm just gonna say there's a lot.
Yeah. Okay.
Can you? Yeah.
Lauren, what do you think?
I'm gonna go with 22 because that was my volleyball number.
Okay.
That's actually really close.
Yeah, that's pretty close. Now, I counted 24. I don't think there's an official number. And I kind of started up with Castle Crags. But can you name some of the ones that, besides maybe Auburn, that might be associated with water or river or lake?
Just state parks? Like, no special?
Yeah.
Okay. Bernie?
Yep, Bernie Falls.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Castle Crags. Lake Tahoe, just all of Lake Tahoe, because we got Yuba, we got Auburn,
we got Clear Lake.
Mono, Clear, yes, Clear Lake. I know.
Now, I didn't include Clear Lake because it's not in the Sierra Nevada or Cascade Mountain range, but
fair.
Yeah.
Diablo range, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, if you think about it, from Castle Crags all the way down to Millerton Lake, we have California state parks that I counted 24, sort of in that arc of the mountains. But that means that there's a lot of opportunity, and really not surprising, mostly because of the main river systems of the Yuba and American. They're kind of centered around Interstate 80 and US 50. So, you know, the access for anybody in the Bay Area, Sacramento area is huge. But I thought it was kind of a cool fun fact, and it's really one of the reasons why we're talking with Lauren today. So if you have a particular park that you'd like us to feature, please let us know on our social media or our email at roguerangerradio@gmail.com.
So rivers in California are beautiful places to recreate, as we've already hit on. But swimming in fast-moving water with underwater unseen obstacles is nothing like a pool or a lake not to mention the cold temperatures. But Lauren is going to help us all understand the right way to enjoy a day on the American River at Auburn State Recreation Area. So, Lauren, let's say that I'm a first-time visitor to Auburn SRA, and I'm bringing my family, including a couple of young children. What are a few cool and interesting family-friendly places I should know about? Anything popular, kid-friendly, kid-safe?
Yep. So Auburn State Recreation Area is about 40 miles of American River Canyon and about 30,000 plus acres. So there's a lot of different opportunities out there. The Confluence is a fabulous place to start in terms of it features some of the most iconic imagery of Auburn State Recreation Area. No Hands Bridge, the Forest Hill Bridge. It has the Lake Clementine Trail, which takes you to the Lake Clementine Dam, Canyon Creek Falls. It accesses the Western States Trail, some of the most well-known features of Auburn. But if I'm going to point you in the direction of family-friendly recreation, I'm actually going to point you to China Bar, which is off Maidu Drive in the city of Auburn. It's a lesser known feature within Auburn State Recreation Area. However, it's actually the dam site for the Auburn Dam project, which means that it has paved roadways that are stroller and little kid friendly. It's next to Auburn Recreation District's 2 park units, including the Auburn Bike Park and Railhead Park that has a playground at it. So if you want to get your mom hike on or your dad hike on and then have a feature for your kids at the end, those are also co-managed with the Bureau of Reclamation, who owns all of the property within it. Additionally, it has like cardiac bypass trail for training, uphill training, dirt trail access. You can get all the way down to the river. We allow mountain bikes in that portion of the park as well. Additionally, on all of those, you get to check out the Auburn Dam site and all the projects that went into it. And there's a whitewater recreation structure that's done by PCWA that you can practice some amateur like river kayak. The other nice thing about China Bar is you're within like a 2-minute drive or like 10-minute walking distance of Old Town and downtown Auburn. So you can stop and get lunch, go to the ale house and grab a beer, or you can go shopping right afterwards. So when your kids get hungry and their legs are tired, go grab them a snack and support the local community.
That's a great point. So if I'm driving up there, what should I know about access and parking, especially around Confluence and Highway 49 area at the bottom of the canyon?
So Auburn's kind of unique for a state park. There's not a lot of formal entrances to the park unit. There's a lot of roadside parking. We collaborate with Placer County and Caltrans in order to do some of the parking that's available on there. The most important thing is plan ahead. It gets really congested. There are long walks. So when we're talking family friendly, if you get here in the afternoon, you could be parking 2 miles away from your trailhead.
Yeah, no.
Not ideal for it. The roadways are also thoroughfares for people getting to and from communities and residences. So when you plan ahead, make sure that you include any contingency plans or scouting out spots that you might want to pull off so that you're not blocking or obstructing the roadway.
Yeah, excellent point.
Auburn SRA covers a large area of 2 major rivers. What other areas can people access the rivers and trails, like Newbridge?
So there's lots of different areas where they can access. Auburn State Recreation Area on the downriver side starts in the city of Auburn. On the North Fork goes all the way up to Colfax. And on the Middle Fork goes all the way past the community of Forest Hill. So there's lots of access points on them. Some of the easier and more accessible ones are Upper Lake Clementine Day Use Area, which is open from April 15th to October 15th. It's mainly a swim recreation area. However, the Forest Hill Divide Loop does cross that trail, and you can get into that loop trail system from there. Mineral Bar Campground has a day use facility and a 16-site campground for river recreation on the North Fork. It's also a popular gold panning spot within the area and backs up on the upriver side to BLM property and the Pennyweight Trail, and has Windy Point Trail, which is a very steep trail, but is known for its wildflower blooms. China Bar, as we previously talked about, has hiking and river access. Lower Lake Clementine has the Lake Clementine Dam and is accessible either by parking in the Confluence and hiking the Lake Clementine Trail, or does have parking available on site. One lesser known one, so that we hit all of our communities, is the Ruckachunky area, which is where the Western States Trail comes in from the Tahoe side. That area has a 5-site campground and is the takeout for our whitewater concessionaires. But don't forget, we have much more to do than just swimming. We have a climbing area in the Quarry Climbing Zone, which is off of Quarry Trail, off of Highway 49 in the confluence.
But wait, there's more.
We
Yeah.
have power boating at Lake Clementine with a powerboat boat launch. We do have golden mussel quarantine procedures, so make sure you check out our website to review those first. On top of that, we have a bunch of equestrian trails, mountain bike trails, and hiking trails that go throughout the park. And the city of Auburn is the endurance capital of the world. And we run many endurance races that come through the park.
Yeah.
Why wasn't that the fun fact, Dawn?
I'm sorry. Next time? No, that won't work. Yeah.
Just a few more other tidbits to add there, because
Sure.
you know a little bit of my background. We have the Mammoth Bar unit that has OHV access in it, and we also have whitewater recreation available through commercial access with one of our 15 concessionaires that offers whitewater access or private boating.
Yeah, I completely forgot about the whitewater because that is a huge recreational activity that happens there. And
People move here for whitewater access.
yeah, there
That's
is.
why my dermatologist chose this community.
Yeah, yeah. You're a whitewater enthusiast. The North and Middle Forks are well known for that. So, if I'm not mistaken, Auburn SRA traces back to the original idea of the Auburn Dam and the huge lake that would have been formed by the dam. So, would you talk just a little bit about that, and maybe even more particularly the Forest Hill Bridge and why the canyons or rivers are still in their natural state?
Yeah, absolutely. So, dating back to a small event in California history called the California Gold Rush, you might have heard of it.
Maybe.
There was a boom in the Sacramento Valley population, and there's been flood control need ever since then in the 1850s. Around 1950, BOR constructed the Folsom Dam.
Bureau of Reclamation.
The Bureau of Reclamation.
Mm-hmm.
Constructing the Folsom Dam to help with some of that flood control and provide like a hydroelectric dam and water to the Sacramento area.
Mm-hmm.
In that, there was a recognition that there was still going to be a capacity issue. So they looked up and they went to the Auburn Dam site. The Auburn Dam design was originally meant to take over double the capacity of Folsom Lake. So in 1965, Congress authorized an Auburn Dam project for a hydroelectric and long-term water storage dam. That construction project began in 1968. And there was a group that formed called Protect American River Canyons at that time. They were advocates for the protection of the canyon as is in its condition, and continue to work with Auburn State Recreation Area and advocating for the canyon and their own project priorities like the Auburn to Cool Bridge. A lot of work went into the Auburn Dam, but in about 1975, there was an earthquake in Lake Oroville that was stimulated having to do with the Lake Oroville Dam.
Mm-hmm.
In that, they kind of paused the Auburn Dam project, and they did a further assessment, realizing that the Auburn Dam project was on a fault line and would be equally susceptible to an earthquake. So they initiated a redesign of it, but in that they did the Coffer Dam construction, diverted the river, and it has been on hiatus pretty much ever since, although it does surge up on the congressional side occasionally to continue the project, and it is still a federally authorized dam site. In the construction area of that, they were like, oh, there's this road that comes through the canyon that is the only access for the community of Forest Hill to their homes. So they built a very large bridge to get that traffic through to the community of Forest Hill with the plan of the dam going in place.
Mm-hmm.
That bridge still exists today. It's over 700 feet high, but was designed to have water coming up to its footings in its original conception plan.
Yeah. Tallest bridge in California, if I'm not mistaken. Tallest
I'm going to forget that statistic. It is one of the tallest bridges in the United States.
Yeah, 700 some odd feet, 753 or something like that.
738 feet.
Yeah, I drove past it a couple of weeks ago and saw the sign and went, "Oh yeah, that's no slouch for a bridge." So
It does have pedestrian pathways on the side of it. I don't recommend looking directly down.
I'm good.
yeah.
Hard pass.
Well, I'm old enough to remember the whole Auburn Dam controversy and the building of the bridge, and it was interesting to go up there and watch that under construction. So yeah, maybe I shouldn't have admitted that, but
The original guys from Protect American River Canyons are still around. They do 2 cleanups in the park a year. They were advocates for the bridge debris removal project, which was debris that was left in the river after a flooding event in the confluence, and they removed like 700 tons, an insane amount of concrete and steel from the canyon in the past year. And they're still looking for projects that help support recreation and preservation of the canyon.
yeah, it turned out wonderful. I was hiking around there, whenever the last time I saw you, which was 2 or 3 weeks ago, I guess. And yeah, I was really impressed because that concrete's been there forever. And it's so nice to see the river cleaned up. It just looks normal now. So that's great.
The city of Auburn and Auburn SRA host 2 very famous events that occur each summer. We've kind of touched on it, but can you talk a little bit about each one?
So as I previously talked about, Auburn is the endurance capital of the world. So we host a lot of endurance events. I'm going to talk about the original one first, which is the Tevis Cup Endurance Ride, which began in, I have it written down right here, 1955. And has only had 2 cancellations. One was in 2008 due to wildfire, and the other was in 2020 due to COVID. That's a 100-mile endurance ride that starts in the Palisades area of Lake Tahoe and finishes in the city of Auburn. They have 24 hours to complete the race, and it's amazing to watch what they can do, especially as you watch these horses climb these steep these steep mountainscapes coming over the Sierra Nevadas. There are many trails within Auburn that are named after key players in that race, including Wendell T. Roby and Paige Harper trails. That race actually inspired the other one, which is the Western States Endurance Run. It's probably one of the most famous endurance runs in the United States. It's one of the most competitive ultramarathons, and it has a capacity of 369 runners that are allowed to participate in it. The reason there's 369 is for service regulations to preserve an area in the Sierra Nevadas. That results in that they have to compete to qualify to either get a golden ticket entry into the race or to get a raffle ticket in the race. And there's an annual drawing that occurs at Placer Hills High School every year, where we draw names out. It's international competitors that participate in that race. So when we've participated in the draw as the people that draw the ticket or hit the button for it, I believe I've pulled tickets from China and Puerto Rico for those races. Additionally, we have like one of the largest races we run is the Canyons Endurance Run, which will occur at the end of April. That has over 2,000 runner participants in it.
I forgot
your
about
staff.
That one. Yeah,
your staff must be so busy because you have water, you have rock climbing, you have whitewater, you have a little kids park, you have endurance runs. Oh my!
They're so busy, but they don't have a bad office. So
yeah, exactly.
That's State Park's motto, right? Is no bad office, great
Painted
sunsets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, the park is so unique because of its location within the Sierra Nevada mountains, and that means that there's a huge variety of plant and animal life. What might a visitor experience when they come to Auburn SRA?
So you have to take into account that the elevation changes within the American River Canyon go from like 500 feet to 2,500 feet. So depending on where you are, you're going to experience different flora and fauna and animal life within the park. You can expect most of the things you would see in anywhere in the Sierra foothills. Like right now we have golden poppies, lupin, Indian paintbrush, all sorts of wildflowers blooming throughout the park. I believe we're about to get into like our buckeye blooms, which are some of the prettiest blooms, underrated wildflower blooms throughout the park, I would say. Generally, we get fantastic spring blooms. However, take into account that's your time to come and look at the aesthetics. We don't get wonderful fall foliage because we're in oak, woodland, and pine territories. So we tend to get calls like, Where should I go to see the fall leaves? Come for the spring flowers.
Massachusetts.
For the fall leaves.
Yeah.
In terms of wildlife, we have black bears, black-tailed deers, bald eagles, woodpeckers. We have nesting peregrine falcons in the quarry right now. The quarry's under a specialty closure for it. We see mountain lions occasionally, and protected species habitat like western pond turtles and yellow-legged frogs. I think one of the great things about this foothills is that you can learn something different about the flora and fauna every day. Either what's endemic here, what's invasive, how that impacts each other and how they create. And then you can literally watch the elevation change and how those species occur within the park.
Yeah. Yeah. Wonderful.
So I was going to say, I assume the most popular activity is swimming, but apparently it's endurance running, but I'm still going to go forward with this question. Swimming is probably one of the most popular activities in the confluence during the summer months because no one wants to run in the heat. So let's talk about river safety. We're having a bit of a fall summer right now. It was 82 here yesterday. What's the most important thing that people should know about swimming in the river? And is this a good time of year to swim? Is April a good time of year to swim?
First and foremost, April's a terrible time to swim in rivers. For everyone's hard stop. The rivers are made mainly of snowmelt runoff. They are cold, they are unrelenting, and they are dynamic. So most people are familiar with stagnant swimming environments. Something like a lake or a pool, right? Where the water's not moving much. In a lake, you might have steep drop-offs or other submerged hazards that you're unaware of, but the water's not moving very fast. Or you go to the ocean every so often and you're dealing with tidal surges, rip currents, those type of dynamics. Even when I talk to the lifeguard community, most of them are terrified of rivers. Why? Because it never stops. There is no relief in that pressure unless the flows slow down or you completely dam the river. So if you get pushed up against a submerged object, there is no relent in you being pushed against that object. Swimmers can be swept downriver. They can be submerged while they're being swept. They can be pushed up against a rock surface, a tree, something that is underneath the river. They can get their foot entrapped, their clothes entrapped, and they cannot get out without assistance in those cases, unless you are very familiar with rescue techniques. And unless you're raised in a river environment, most people aren't. Yeah. Spring runoff is extremely cold. Don't swim in the springtime. If you're going to swim, come out in the summer once we're on scheduled recreational releases and the water has warmed up, and do your research first.
Yeah. And, you know, that you talked about the pressure of the water. I think that's a thing that most people don't understand. You know, they might have grown up swimming in pools or lakes and whatnot, and they don't understand that force of the water and how that can hold them against an object or underneath the water. And there's this idea that, well, you know, if I run into something, I'll just push myself up. That can't happen and usually won't happen in a river. The other thing too, you know, from my experience of working on the South Yuba River, is that those events where somebody might slip or fall in or just be in the water and then taken downstream happen in seconds.
It's so fast.
It's not a minute. It's not anything that people can really comprehend, because the event that could eventually harm them in a very negative way is going to happen within just a few seconds. And at that point, there's really no self-arrest. There's no way to kind of fix yourself out of the problem. So,
well, we always say around here, drownings happens in seconds, not minutes here. So once you're caught in the current and you're swept, it may already be too late. In 2021, we employed lifeguards here for the first time. I think people's impression of us employing lifeguards is to go in for rescues. Their main purpose is to do preventative contacts, to educate people on how to recreate safely. Because once that person has gone downriver without a life jacket on, there's very little chance that we will get to them unless they can self-extricate from the river. So speaking of that, because we talked about how scary rivers are, let's talk about how awesome and how you can be around them safely. Is that all right?
Yes.
Yeah,
please.
Absolutely. Great segue.
My favorite thing to say to people is if you are recreating near a river, whether you intend to swim or not, wear a life jacket.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
We have loaner stations here. I know they have them at South Yuba River. Grab a life
Yes, we do.
jacket if you're going down to the river, and wear it, because in case you fall in, that is your tool to help you get out or stay afloat until we can get rescuers to you. If you're not wearing a life jacket, you're dependent on your body's buoyancy and your ability to swim. And humans aren't really designed to be in the water.
Yeah. Yeah. It's such a huge point, and I think a really key point at Confluence. You don't necessarily have as many of the large granite boulders that the South Yuba has to deal with, where people get sucked under the boulders and the waters and get entrapped in that. But having a life jacket on in the American River will probably keep you alive. You're going to stay buoyant. You're going to stay on top, even if you're struggling to get out of the river. At least your head is up above water. So yeah, we can't emphasize that enough. Life jackets are there to keep you alive.
They give you your best fighting chance. Cold water drowning involves your body hitting the cold water, submerging, and your natural reflex to inhale. So you're going to inhale water, your muscles are going to cramp, and it's going to want to take you down. A life jacket will keep you afloat. A second tip that I have, which doesn't seem like it's swimming related, is keep your dog on a leash.
Please.
Oh, it's absolutely swimming related. Yeah.
Yep.
We've had 2 drownings in 2 years based off of the understanding that people went in after their dogs, and their dogs self-extricated and the people died.
Yeah.
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 Your dog knows how to swim. It'll do it.
Yeah.
And most of our drowning victims are males between the age of like 15 and 35.
Mm-hmm.
So people going in after their children, trying to show off to their friends, or those type of dynamics. Be safe. Make good decisions around the river. Do your research. Know what the flows of the river are. Know what the safe swimming zones are. Upper Lake Clementine is a way more controlled environment than the confluence of the American River. Take your families there. Watch your children adjacent to the river. And not only not drink water before you come so that you are fully hydrated and have your ability to fight if you need to fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, and back to the watching your children, put them in a life jacket. Even if they know how to swim, put them in a life jacket. I've been to places with Don with my 3 kids, and he was like, "You're putting them in life jackets?" I'm like, "Yeah, there's 3 of them, 1 of me. I can't triage all 3 of them and help myself at the same time if something were to go south." So my kids know how to swim. They've been in water their whole lives, but I still to this day make them wear a life jacket, especially if it's just me. So. Yeah. And hot tip, the loaner program, we have it at South Yuba and at Auburn. They have children, youth sizes, and adult sizes. They do both.
Yep.
So you can loan them for your kids too.
Yeah, and that's a really great program. It's not that old of a program, but on most of the major river systems in California now, at the major access points, they have loaner life jackets. Life jackets are a very inexpensive way to keep yourself alive. And really, ultimately, it's all about exercising some common sense. Right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I think lastly, I think it's important for people to know that there potentially could be a time lag when it comes to emergency response. You want to speak to that just a little bit?
Yeah, so for emergency response, we have lifeguards that are in the area, but they're roving throughout the area. We also, on the American River Canyon, have a technical rescue team that dispatches out of the city of Auburn. So depending on where you are, what the location is, how much information you know, all of those tools will help you get rescuers to you faster or your friends faster. But you're looking at a 10 to 15 minute window at best to get someone to you with those tools to help you. Again, drownings happen in seconds. So by the time that they're getting there, half the time it's too late. So think proactively. Also, when you're going somewhere, know where you're going, because that'll get the resources to you the fastest. Yeah. Sometimes when we hear like, I can see the river, it takes a lot more tools for us to understand where you are than if you know what trailhead you went in on and you observe the signs as you got there.
Exactly. Great.
And how's How's cell service in that area? Because at South Yuba, we don't have anything.
Cell service is pretty terrible. Sometimes with your major providers, you can have it depending on where you are on the river, but some of the smaller providers have nothing whatsoever. And the more people we get, the worse cell phone service there is.
Yep.
So the more populated the river canyon is, the more likely that you're not going to be able to get that phone call out.
Are there any call boxes at any of the major spots in the park or at visitor centers or anything?
Not at Auburn State Recreation Area. At Folsom Lake along the American River Bike Trail, there's call boxes available.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, Jenna and I both worked at South Yuba River State Park, a very popular place for river recreation. And I know that you're familiar with some of those river crossings. Do all those safety issues apply there as well?
All of those safety issues apply there as well. And in my opinion, South Yuba River is a little bit more rural and less accessible to the river than Auburn State Recreation Area. And your response times are going to be delayed based off of that. Your helicopters, if you have to be air hoisted, are coming from the city of Auburn.
Mm-hmm.
So take all of those things into account as well. All of those same hazards apply. And they have a wonderful ranger staff there that is there to help you, and wonderful EMS staff, but they're further delayed in getting to you.
Yeah. And I don't know about Auburn. At South Yuba, they do have the River Ambassador Program volunteers that work primarily at the 49 crossing to, just give people information about the river conditions and river safety and whatnot. Does Auburn have that kind of volunteer program at all?
We have a volunteer group that's called the Canyon Keepers. They are absolutely fabulous. They do a trail program where they hike the trails. They educate users on resources within the park and rules and regulations. They booth the confluence to provide river safety information and additional information about the park. They're currently stationed in the climbing area to educate on peregrine falcons and protected species. And they do wonderful partnerships with us and our mounted assistance unit, who's out there also doing trail education.
Yeah.
Just to tag on to the end of that, the circle, as we call them, but the South Yuba River Citizens League, this year they will only be boothing along the South Yuba, I believe, Memorial and 4th of July this year. So if you're looking for that extra assistance or knowledge at the river, they will not be out as much this year, from what I've been told.
Interesting. Okay, well, that's good to know. Okay.
We also have the benefit for water safety is we partner with Placer County Sheriff and their dive team, CAL FIRE, NEU, and their technical rescue team for aquatic safety messaging. We put signs out that are in 4 languages in order to talk about the river. We put CMS boards out there. So read signs as you come through the park. Yeah. They give you very pertinent information, and we try to warn people about any delays, hazards, anything that exists that we have knowledge of.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any other websites, social media pages, or anywhere else we can get specific information on river conditions before we go?
If you look on Dreamflows, the North and Middle Fork are on Dreamflows, or USGS provides flow rates on the rivers. Just general information on the Middle Fork of the American River is there's a timed recreational release that generally the river will go anywhere from like 200, 300, 500 up to 1,000 to 1,300 CFS, cubic feet per second, every afternoon around the time between 1 and 4. So if you don't have time to come out, there's signs that tell you about the river rise throughout the park. Just be knowledgeable that those timeframes do exist and that there will be a drastic increase in the flow rates that occur. Additionally, outside of all of that, follow us on social media. We'll provide you information that you want. We have a wonderful social media team here with Serena Wisniewski and Joe Shanahan, our interpretive specialists, and our PMA, who do as much information as they can get out on Facebook and Instagram.
Well, those are all great safety points, Lauren, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate the information about Auburn SRA for everyone, because it is such a popular park. And of course, always the river safety stuff, because that's always foremost on my mind, even these days. And I know that you and your staff do a great job up there trying to make sure that everybody goes home safely. So it's much appreciated.
Yeah, thank you, Lauren.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Here are a few of the basics for Auburn State Recreation Area. The park has multiple access points, as Lauren already mentioned, but the most common is by driving on Highway 49, either from North Placerville or south from Auburn. The drive from Auburn is the most convenient. It's only about 10 minutes from Interstate 80 and the Lincoln Way or Elm Street exits to the Confluence area. There is a $10 per car day use fee for parking along the road at most access points, along with a $10 boat launch fee at Lake Clementine. It gets very busy at the river access points on the weekends all year round and every day in the summer.
Watch for no parking signs and park legally and safely. That's really important to note. Some of the popular mountain bike trailheads, along with the entrance to the Mammoth Bar OHV area, are across the Forest Hill Bridge and along Forest Hill Road from Auburn. Now, access to North Fork can be done from Colfax on either Yankee Jim's Road or Iowa Hill Road. These two roads are steep and narrow secondary roads with some pavement and dirt. All-wheel drive, high-clearance vehicles are recommended. There are discounts for seniors, and some state park passes are accepted.
There are many different maps available online specific to hiking, biking, equestrian, and roads. So be sure to make sure you have the correct one that's best suited for your needs for that day, however you're recreating in the park that day.
Yep. We should note that if you travel about 15 miles south on Highway 49 from the confluence area of Auburn State Recreation Area, you will end up at one of the most significant historical sites in California, maybe even the United States, and that's Marshall Gold Discovery State Historic Park. It is a must-see for everyone and very easy to get to.
Today we looked at Auburn State Recreation Area as a fun and interesting area to explore year-round. We also talked with Superintendent Lauren Shoemaker about keeping you and your family safe while recreating around the North and Middle Forks of the American River. Don't forget to check out the websites for the most up-to-date information and bring water, sunscreen, insect repellent, a leash for your dog, and life jackets.
Yep. Next time on Rogue Ranger Radio, we're going to take a look at one of the most historically significant and beautiful places in California, Mount Diablo State Park.
All right, here's our call to action. Subscribe and share the podcast. Visit park websites and support local park foundations. Follow us on social media for updates and bonus content. We're on Facebook and Instagram at Rogue Ranger Radio. And if you have questions, comments, or if there's anything you want to share with us or ask us to talk about next time, you can find us at roguerangerradio@gmail.com.
Thank you for making Rogue Ranger Radio part of your day. Be sure to give us a like and a review on your favorite podcast platform. It really does mean a lot to us.
It does.
Also, spread the word about this podcast to everyone you know. Lastly, don't forget to check the show notes for links to things that we have talked about today. Now, go out and explore the best that California has to offer.